Have you ever felt ashamed to talk to God because you've confessed the same sin again and again? What if I told you that no matter how many times you fail, there's a deeper truth you've probably never been told? Hi, I'm Levan, the voice behind these reflections. And today we're diving into something radically misunderstood, the nature of grace in the face of our continuing sin. What does it really mean when people say you can't out-sin the grace of God? Is that just a comforting cliche or something far more powerful? You see, most of us have been here kneeling in prayer, whispering, "Oh, Lord, I did it again. Please forgive me." And then comes the whisper, not from God, but from guilt, from shame, from the enemy. Seriously? Again? You think God's still listening? That's where it begins. The doubt, the subtle erosion of trust in God's patience. But here's the twist you might not expect. God's forgiveness isn't measured by our behavior, it's grounded entirely in His character, in grace. Romans 5:20 says, where sin increased, grace abounded all the more. Not just enough grace, superabundant grace. But what does that mean in practice? Does it mean we have a license to sin, or that God simply overlooks repeated failures? Let's rewind to the real purpose of the law. Imagine the Ten Commandments as a mirror. A mirror doesn't clean you, it just shows the dirt. That's exactly what the law does. It reveals the depth of our sinfulness, not to shame us, but to drive us to the only place that truly cleanses, the cross. So here's the key insight. The law exposes, but only grace heals. Not our confession, not our tears, not our resolutions to do better next time. Only grace purchased by the blood of Christ brings forgiveness. Midway through, let me pause and ask, if this resonates with you, if you've ever battled guilt and wondered if God's done with you, give this video a like. It helps more people hear what you're hearing now. Back to the heart of the matter. Grace isn't God closing His eyes and pretending we're better than we are. Grace is God fully knowing our worst and choosing to love us anyway. Grace doesn't lower the bar, it absorbs the entire cost. That's why Paul's message in Romans hits so hard. He's not saying sin doesn't matter. He's saying sin is so devastating, so enslaving, so deadly that only the infinite grace of Christ could ever overcome it. You and I, we're not forgiven because we groveled the right way. We're forgiven because Christ was crucified in our place. And that truth does something profound. It doesn't make us want to sin more. It humbles us. It makes us want to worship, to obey, to walk closer, not out of fear, but gratitude. Think about it. If you really grasp that every sin you've ever committed and will commit is already accounted for at the cross, how would you live? Grace isn't cheap. It cost the life of the Son of God. That's why calling it cheap grace misses the point. The real scandal isn't that grace forgives too easily, it's that it forgives at all. And if you're thinking, well, then I can just keep sinning, right? Maybe you haven't yet encountered real grace, because real grace doesn't make sin appealing, it makes it repulsive. Real grace awakens a desire for holiness, not perfection, but progress, fueled not by fear, but by love. I want to say something to anyone carrying guilt right now. You're not alone. You're not disqualified. You're not too far gone. The cross covers you. Still, the whisper that says God's done with you, that's not the voice of your Father, that's the enemy of your soul. The voice of God says, come back. Yes, again. because I already knew and I already forgave. That's the mystery and the miracle of grace. So where does this leave us? It leaves us free, not to sin, but free from the crushing weight of trying to earn forgiveness. It leaves us resting, not in our performance, but in his promise. And it leaves us worshiping, not because we have to, but because we want to. If this message stirred something in you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Share what grace has meant in your life, or even what you're still wrestling with. Let's make this a place where grace flows freely. And if you found value in today's reflection, consider subscribing. Join me, Levan, on this journey of exploring timeless truths in a noisy world. There's so much more to discover together. Next, I invite you to watch this companion video on why guilt still haunts us and how grace breaks it. You'll find the link right here on the end screen. Stick around. You don't want to miss it.